Hi, this is Ian James Corlett, and you are listening to Pixels in the Animation.
Colonel William Guile, one of the greatest martial artists in the world, travels the global tournament circuit, using it to conceal his top-secret mission as leader of an elite group of international crime fighters known only by their code name, Street Fighter. The heroic man-beast, Blanca, hard-kicking fighting machine, Chun-Li. And a team of the most amazing warriors ever seen have joined forces with Guile to combat the criminal empire of Shadaloo and its superhuman leader, Bison. They have their own code of honor, discipline, justice, commitment, and together they will triumph against the forces of evil. Street Fighter!
Hello and welcome to Pixels in the Animation. This is our 60th episode. That means we only have 40 more to go, folks, and 90% of the remaining 40 episodes is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog reviews. So everybody should be looking forward to that. That starts, I think that starts at around episode 71. Hey, at least before I found my newfound cartoon resource, at least back then when I originally changed the schedule to what it is now, at least we don't have to go through 2 or 3 or however many seasons of Donkey Kong Country there were. Crap. So yeah, I'm TF2 and Mike. Joining me is TV's Mr. Dale.
Happy 25th anniversary, Street Fighter.
Oh my God. 25 years, so old, just like Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are here to talk about Street Fighter Season 1. Because there are 2 13-episode seasons of Street Fighter, there are going to be 4 episodes of the podcast dedicated to Street Fighter. God. Remember last week or the week before when you said send money? Yeah, people, send money. Oh crap. We're going to take a quick break, come back with the first 7 or whatever it is episodes after this. And Neil just dropped the mic. We'll be back, folks.
We'll issue whatever firepower you want.
You know I hate guns. Guns are for wimps.
All right. But the clock's ticking, Guile. No time to assemble the full team.
Well, let's see what other operatives we have in the area.
Chun-Li.
Good.
Though there are a couple of freelancers in the area.
Not them.
Good luck, Colonel.
With Ken and Ryu? Thanks. I'm gonna need it.
Alright, folks, it is Street Fighter time. Before we get too far into the first 7 episodes here, some background that I didn't give in the intro. The series debuted in 1995. It's mainly based off the Street Fighter 2 series and Street Fighter Alpha games. So this is like back in the day. This isn't anything current, folks, at all.
Actually, it appears to be an attempted spin-off of the Street Fighter movie because they do kind of reference it early on.
Yeah.
But they also contradict it a lot, so.
Yeah. They do. I mean, it's a combination of those 3 things: the movie, the Street Fighter 2 games, and the Street Fighter Alpha games. I have never played the Street Fighter Alpha games. I've played Street Fighter 2. I've played Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I don't even think I've ever played the original Street Fighter.
Oh well, that's a good thing. Original Street Fighter's not good.
Really?
Yeah, that was back when they didn't really know what the fighting game genre was going to be. So you really just play as Ryu, and if you pick a player 2, you can be Ken, but really you're just supposed to play as Ryu, and it's just a game of boss fights. That's really all it is. And then Street Fighter 2 came along, and they decided, hey, let's actually give some variety to the playable characters, and that's kind of how Street Fighter 2 is really the game that defined the fighting game.
Oh, absolutely. Now, because I'm not comparing the 2 franchises. Street Fighter 2 came before Mortal Kombat, right?
Oh, yeah.
You said a couple weeks ago that Mortal Kombat was essentially the more violent version of Street Fighter.
Yeah. Less sophisticated.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? So, going over the voice cast really quick, it's got some impressive people in this as several different characters. Um, Rat Trap's here, Scott McNeil,
Yeah.
as Ken, Blanca, a bunch of other people that he's apparently played in this series. The Great Oni, a bunch of. So you got him. Michael Donovan is Guile. Donna Yamamoto is Chun-Li. And I think this is probably the best thing they did for this series because Raul Julia passed away right after the movie wrapped, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. The best thing they did for this series to give Bison a somewhat awesome voice a la Raul Julia was they got friggin' Rhinox. They got Richard Newman to voice M. Bison. I can tell you're not thrilled at all with this.
No.
See, okay, and this is something we're gonna bring up as we go along. M. Bison in this cartoon series is essentially X-Men '92 Magneto.
See, I'm judging this by the execution, and these voices are awful. Every single one of them.
They're not as bad as Mortal Kombat. They're not as bad.
I don't know about that.
They're not as bad as Dylan McKay from Beverly Hills 90210 trying to be an emo Sub-Zero. They're not that bad. I'd rather listen to Michael Donovan as Guile than, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, folks, because I absolutely love the guy. I'd rather listen to Michael Donovan as Guile than I would any day to Clancy Brown as Raiden. Just, you've got so many other different characters that show up in the series. What was your first introduction to? Obviously, it was Street Fighter 2. But do you remember when you first played the game or anything like that?
It had to be on the Super Nintendo because I didn't really get around to the arcades. I know I saw it in Nintendo Power.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember those days.
They gave it quite a spread.
Yep. And the funny thing about this series, folks, is, and it's all Disney's fault at this point, every time I see Zangief in this series, all I can think of is Zangief, bad guy.
Yeah. Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
A bad guy.
When did Zangief become a bad guy? Because he's really not. I mean, he's the Soviet. You know, the character was inspired by the Cold War, but he really wasn't. He's more like, you know, just kind of like a tweener. He's like this not really an anti-hero, but just kind of not good, not evil. He's just there.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, but he starts off as a villain and then he turns hero in the movie.
Yeah, in the movie.
And honestly, since we're talking about it, we kind of have to talk about. I have not seen the movie in years. I know the movie like the back of my hand because I had seen it so many times on VHS back in the day when it came out. But I mean, that movie, oh my god!
I think it's secretly the greatest comedy film of all time because it's so absurd that you can't help but laugh at it. And I kind of think we were supposed to laugh at it. I think we kind of didn't get it in the 90s. And then later we realized, oh my God, this is trying to be funny. Yeah. And the guy who wrote it is the guy who wrote Die Hard.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the man who threw Alan Rickman off the building is the guy who wrote this.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if that doesn't scare the crap out of you, I don't know what will. All right, so the first episode, The Adventure Begins.
Also known as Outbreak, because whoever wrote this saw Outbreak clearly.
Yeah. While working undercover in the Street Fighter operation, Guile gets contacted by Escher, Bison has just stolen a biological virus from Guile's old flame, Lucinda or Cindy, and that virus itself can kill an infected person from within 24 hours of instant contact. Guile assembles a team consisting of Chun-Li, Ryu, and Ken, and Blanca, and heads to the jungle to put an end to Bison's scheme. Unfortunately, both Ryu and Blanca contract the virus, and the group must race against the clock in order to get the antidote needed to save their friends. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, you stole my first line. Oh, Outbreak. The other thing I noticed, and this is something that I'll talk about as we talk about more with the episodes, it seems, and maybe I'm just reading into this, but like this first episode, it seemed like Chun-Li was going all gaga over Guile. It really seemed like she was like the jealous girlfriend half the time that he was talking. I don't know, and of course that'll come back into play later when obviously Cammy shows up.
Right.
The fire effect is a bit much. It's, you said the series is over the top. This is like bad WWE over the top. Notice I said WWE, not WWF, because some of the over the top shit that WWE's doing these days is about like this fist in the air thing. Oh my god, it's just...
There's a great YouTube video called Street Fighter Stupidity or something like that. It's just a compilation of all the scenes that are like that, where it's just bizarre animation and weird moments from the series all strung together.
Dang. And as I've already said, the overall voice cast in this, I think, did a much better job than the MK Defenders cast. I just think they did. Because none of the voices in this just make me want to cringe and stop watching. It's basically the plots that make me want to do that. Bison gets away to fight another day, and it turns out that Blanca has the cure. So convenient, and it's like they rolled up. Oh god, you're gonna love this. It's like they rolled up Outbreak, and the mutant plague, and Blanca is Wolverine with the anti. It's like they ripped all that up into one thing, and that's this episode.
Pretty much, I guess.
I don't know. What did you think of this first one here?
Just that it was Outbreak. That's the only thing I could keep thinking. And and Blanca sounds like Dr. Claw. That's my other thought. I'll get you next time, Bison.
Yeah, he does a little bit, and it
sounds like him a lot.
Yeah, it's Scott McNeil, and it's Scott McNeil doing one of his deeper voices. If you listen to Ken is essentially Proto Man.
Yes.
Essentially the Proto Man / Rat Trap voice.
He sounds like he's doing the dude from Akira.
Wow. Alrighty then. What would you rate this first episode, 0 to 5?
1.
I'll give it a 2. I know it's Outbreak, I know it's all that stuff, but I just kind of dug the voice acting. So next up we have the strongest woman in the world. Bison commandeers a nuclear facility in China, which is coincidentally situated near Chun-Li's own birthplace, which Bison had destroyed years prior. Guile assembles Blanca and Chun-Li for the mission to stop Bison. However, Chun-Li is only focused on getting her revenge against Bison and cares little whether a nuclear plant is destroyed or not. Eventually, Guile's scolding gets through to her, and she lets Bison escape so that innocent people wouldn't be harmed. Okay, Chun-Li, you just made the shit list. Oh my god.
I didn't get that ending because she had to let him go so that he would give her the device, but then he threw it at her, at which point she could have stopped him then.
Yeah, but it's cartoon logic. There's no logic in cartoon logic sometimes. That's
not an excuse.
I know it's not an excuse, but I mean, like, and so Chun-Li, the two biggest moves she has in the game is the spinning bird kick or whatever, the upside down kick, And she has the other kick where she just stands on one. She doesn't use the other kick as much as the spinning bird kick half the time.
Yeah.
Like, I think so far in my watching of season 1, I've seen her use the stand up, the high, whatever the hell it's called, the high kick. I've seen it used like once out of the nearly 13 episodes I've watched at this point. It's just crazy. Why is it every time Bison, when he's walking into a room with his red uniform and purple cape, I think he's a cheap knockoff of Magneto?
Because he is.
I know he is, yeah.
I mean, there was the X-Men and Street Fighter crossover game, and they basically kind of look the same.
Yeah, they do.
What I have to say
Yeah.
about this episode is the animation is a step up, but sometimes it gets a little too wacky. Like there's a scene right at the beginning where they do a close up on Kyle's face, and it gets like really super detailed. Like you can almost see the eye boogers in the side of his eyes, and it reminded me of something I had seen on like Ripping Friends once, where they did a close up and they got really super detailed for some reason.
Yeah, this episode, I mean, I'm all for giving each character their own episode and trying to give them some sort of character development or some sort of character origin and everything else. And, well, having M. Bison destroy your village and kill your father as a young child is a very traumatic thing. She needs to... There's no I in Team Chun-Li. There's just no I in team. And if you need to save a village of however the hell many people it is versus getting your revenge, well, pay the fuck attention and do it. Yeah, this episode, I don't know.
I could tell that the animators like drawing the female characters.
Yeah, you think?
Yes.
That's going to come up a lot.
Except I don't understand what's going on with Cammy's hair, because it's supposed to be that little bit of hair that always escapes the ponytail or the braids or whatever. But the way they drew it, it looks like the hair from Something About Mary.
Well, with the way Cammy acts in an upcoming episode that we'll talk about, it doesn't really surprise me that she would have cum in her hair. The only thing I noticed about this one, the only other thing I noticed about this one, I'm not sure if it's a different music cue, but the one where they have to punch out of the ship because it's taking too much fire. I don't know. I thought it changed, but that music cue that's in that scene, I really did dig that. Overall rating for this one,
I'll give it a 2.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. The Chun-Li story wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now, the next episode, that story is... oh boy, I didn't know what the hell to think when I watched this one. Getting to Guile. DJ relays to Escher and Chun-Li that he and Guile were ambushed by Bison and Zangief and that Guile himself was captured. Bison hooks Guile into a mind-probing device to find his Achilles heel so that he can brainwash and reprogram Guile into destroying the rest of the Street Fighters. Chun-Li rallies Blanca, DJ, Ryu, and Ken to help rescue Guile and infiltrate Bison's stronghold. After battling many mutants, the team saves Guile and reminds him of the Street Fighter code: discipline, justice, and commitment. Sounds like they're getting married or something.
Yeah.
So, this episode... See, even though the description says that DJ explains to Escher that Guile got captured, the episode doesn't start that way. The episode starts with Guile... So, at first, I thought he was just having a bad dream or something. You know how a lot of animators and cartoon people, even back then and even now, like starting with a dream sequence. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a whole dream sequence. And come to find out, he's tied to basically an evil version of Cerebro. Like, quite literally. It's... at least they explained how he got captured finally. This entire episode is just one giant mindfuck. It just... Oh my god.
There was an episode of Batman the animated series that was a much better version of this.
Yeah, it's called Perchance to Dream.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, because it's just bizarre and weird, and
It's bizarre and it's weird, and Bison wants to get to Guile by finding his Achilles heel, and then to find out that his Achilles heel is something happening to one of his loved ones, which obviously, again, is Cindy. And it's like somehow he got to turn Guile like this. He got to turn Guile evil by threatening Cindy. Like, I just don't understand that.
and then because it's only like a 20-minute story, they basically threw it away the moment all of his friends showed up.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think you've ever watched what I'm going to reference here, but there's an episode of the Disney cartoon Kim Possible where the bad guy and Kim's sidekick Ron, there's this thing called the Attitudinator. Don't ask. Where it can take out your good thoughts and just leave your bad ones. So basically, in true cartoon fashion, the bad guy ends up good, the good guy ends up bad. That was a much better way of explaining what the hell happened here than what actually the hell happened in this episode. Oh God! Rating for this one?
1.
I'm gonna give it a 0. It just is too much. Oh my God. Next up, we have No Way Out. This is the debut of Sagat in the series. He uses his vast army to wage war on the U.S. Embassy in Shadaloo, all while a young boy named Kip is trapped in the building while it's being evacuated. Blanca, Chun-Li, and Guile head to the rescue operation, but Guile gets trapped in the building along with Kip as well. Both Guile and Kip try to escape Sagat's patrolling forces and were able to gain access to some secret computer files, which were very important. Dun, dun, dun. Why is this reminding me of CIA2 Target Alexa? Oh my God. So, my first note, great. 90s kids starting off the episode. Just great. That's exactly what we need. Thankfully, Kip sent the chick home. But still, I really did think this was going to be another standard 80s, 90s kids cartoon episode where they try to insert, random kid here. You go back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and, you look at Cousin Ed Weiner, or you look at cousin Jeremy. Oh my God, I wanted to bitch slap that kid so hard. Cousin Jeremy, Jesus Christ. At first, I thought this kid was going to be like those kids, and sadly, he actually isn't. This is the sad thing about it is it actually turns out somewhat decent. But again, this episode, the first few episodes are trying to add character depth to several of the characters. This has no character depth, adds no development whatsoever, doesn't even give any kind of backstory for anything, and I don't know. I don't know how we're going to get through 3 more podcasts about this series,
Yeah,
folks.
because there's really nothing to say for cartoons like this except it's like somebody who doesn't understand the Street Fighter franchise.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it feels like an episode of G.I. Joe as animated by the people who did Denver the Last Dinosaur. And it's like, the characters, I don't understand Sagat as a bad guy, because he's not. I mean, he's one of the final bosses in the game, but he has nothing to do with M. Bison.
Yeah.
He's just there because, Ryu kicked his ass in the first game.
Yeah. Rating for this one?
0.
Okay. I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a 2 because, like I said, the whole kid angle didn't turn out as horrible as I thought it was going to, because, trust me, some of those 80s and 90s kids like Scott and T-Bob, oh God, don't even get me started. And I really, when I say 80s and 90s kids, I count Scott and T-Bob, like I said, a couple of the other random kids that aren't Spike and Carly from the Transformers, I don't really count Snarf or Snarfer because they're not actual kids. They're animals. They're just as bad, but they're not. You know. Next up, we have Demon Island. Bison steals a top secret military plane that can turn invisible at the push of a button. So it's up to Guile, DJ, Cammy, and Blanca to get it back. They arrive on the mysterious island where Bison currently has set up shop, and unfortunately, Zangief is patrolling the area in a hovercraft. DJ blames Zangief for ruining his fighting career, and they begin to fight while Guile fends off Bison. The Street Fighters eventually steal the plane back just as the island explodes. Okay, this was November 18th, 1995. Damn, only about a year before John Travolta and Christian Slater were in the Broken Arrow. I swear that's the whole thing I kept seeing in this episode when they stole they stole the damn stealth plane. And I'm like, oh great, it's either Broken Arrow or GoldenEye, as bad as that sounds. This is the episode I mentioned earlier with Cammy. But first, throwing a dummy out of the car as a signal to meet. Oh my god. Is Escher on drugs? Like, seriously? Just... Oh god.
Do they call him Escher because everything he concocts makes no sense? Kind of like an Escher painting.
Yeah, probably. So Chun-Li and Cammy are Guile's hoes at this point, right? Because seriously, the two of them fighting over him it's already gotten old. And Cammy, oh my god.
Well, I think Cammy is definitely the love interest here.
Yeah. The subplot about DJ getting his revenge on Zangief was actually almost more refreshing than the main plot of stealing the stealth plane, honestly. And then one of my final notes is, damn, Cammy, just sit on his face already.
Yeah.
Because he ain't going to get the hints. Love that ending. She's like, oh, a candlelit romantic dinner for two. Oh, no, let's have a dinner for the whole team. Yeah, Guile just doesn't. What did you think of this one?
Well, I forget the name of the character, but there's a female character who's definitely wearing a metallic costume that looks remarkably like one of the Night Sabers from Bubblegum Crisis. I mean, that it just is the costume. I'm looking at it right now. That's definitely it. Maybe I'll do a side by side and give it to you after we're done recording, because it's so blatant. Again, this is like a G.I. Joe episode, and it's kind of weird that they're doing it with Street Fighter because, oh, wait, I forgot one of the dumbest lines from the first episode, which was like, guns are for wimps, and that's their whole explanation for why they go around fighting international crime with just, like, energy attacks. But it does look, it's just so bizarre, because you got this guy who's supposedly a member of the Air Force leading the team, and then you got the green guy who is like, it's like this mutated jungle beast, and then you have the girl who's always running around in a bathing suit that makes absolutely no. What am I saying? It makes perfect sense. Never mind what I just said. Then you have, I mean, it's just so weird, and it's like the Street Fighter concept was nothing like this. It was, I mean, that was like a subplot for Guile, and Guile alone, was that he wanted his revenge against M. Bison, and nobody else was even remotely interested in Bison in the game.
Well, yeah, but like I said earlier, they wrote in ways for the other. Well, comparative to the movie, I would think Charlie would want his revenge, considering Bison, and they explore that in this series later.
But in the game, Blanca is not Charlie.
Yeah, I know. And then they wrote in the whole Chun-Li thing, which...
Well, yeah, that's true. Chun-Li is the other character who's interested in getting Bison.
Yeah. And honestly, those are outside of Ken and Ryu, those are the three main characters that pretty much show up in every episode. Because Ken and Ryu don't show up in every episode, but Blanca, Chun-Li, and Guile pretty much do.
Yeah, that's kind of a travesty in itself. Because
What
I always thought that Ryu was the main character.
Yeah, well, since they're going off the movie logic, he wasn't
Yeah.
really the main character in the movie. So, what would you give Demon Island?
1. You know what? I also saw some shades of Macross in this, just the way the island blew up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just watch the first, minute of the first episode of Macross or Robotech, and you'll see what I mean. You don't have to watch beyond that.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 1.5. Cammy, oh my god, she belongs in a strip club. People, she just does. God.
There are characters who are far worse than that. I mean, at least
I'm sure.
that costume is supposed to be an athletic costume. There are costumes that are just like make absolutely no sense. I mean, she's actually more conservatively dressed than the Mortal Kombat chicks.
Yeah, but the drawings in this are better than those. I'm sorry.
That's true. Like I said, the animators love drawing Cammy.
Okay, the second to last episode for the show today, Desert Thunder. Oh boy. Escher receives word that a new military laser was stolen by the female cyborg, the Satin Hammer, and her cohort T-Hawk. While T-Hawk was originally supposed to be undercover in order to monitor the Satin Hammer's activities, Escher believes that T-Hawk has switched sides. He charges Guile and Blanca to get to the bottom of the situation. They eventually confront T-Hawk, who still maintains that he is on their side, even though it's clear he's sympathetic towards Satin Hammer. Eventually, however, T-Hawk throws himself into the Satin Hammer's computer system and destroys it in an instant, even though the Satin Hammer manages to escape capture from him and the others. Oh, Lord. Let's see here. Strange female villain stealing laser and then laser fuel. Yay. So far, this is the only episode without Bison.
Oh, that's right.
How the hell? Okay, I know the guy's name is T-Hawk, but his powers are not explained. Like, okay, I can get Guile putting his hands together and doing a sonic boom somehow, weird Superman logic. I don't know. I can get him doing a flash kick at super speeds or whatever. But I'm sorry, T-Hawk flying, quite literally flying with no wings from the ground up to the ship, and then Blanca basically. Blanca rolling,
Yeah.
Rick roll. I don't know, like from the ground to the like that. I have a suspension of disbelief, folks. If it happens just once with T-Hawk fly, it happens twice with two different characters here. It is just not even. Oh my god! More explanation, please, writers. Not that I'm paying attention, but they quite literally make us pay attention to it in the intro to every single one of these episodes. Because at the end of every single intro, Guile musses his own hair, and it pains me to admit this, that I actually have been paying. His hair gets crazier and crazier as the series goes on. Oh, God. And it turns out that this chick is basically, I hate men, the standard Wonder Woman story, I guess, except she's in a metal suit of armor. Thoughts?
I don't know.
I mean, like, I don't even think it...
Actually, what I just said about I got my wires crossed. The girl I was just talking about that looks like she's from Bubblegum Crisis is actually from this episode. I got my notes and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right. Like this episode she doesn't even explain why she wants to destroy the Pentagon. I don't think she ever says why. She just says she wants to destroy the Pentagon.
Because Cobra Commander told her to.
It almost would have been better if Cobra was in this episode.
I can't believe I was able to do that. Holy crap. Alright, rating for this one?
I'll give it a 1. I don't know.
Gotta give it a 0. I'm sorry. There's just as much as I enjoy Wonder Woman and I know her overall storyline and I know what the island of Themyscira is, it really just screams Wonder Woman to me with the whole woman hating men thing. Just oh my god, just no. Finally, for today's podcast, we have episode 7 of season 1, The Dark Heart or Dark Heart. The Millennium Comet is on its scheduled 1,000-year voyage in the skies over Earth, but Bison uses his magnetic chi powers to redirect the comet towards the planet and threatens to rip apart the continent of the U.S. through Comet's own crash unless he gets a huge sum of money. Guile, Blanca, Ryu, Ken. Hold on. Guile. I know exactly where you're going to go with this because I had the same thought too. Guile, Blanca, Ryu, and Ken go to the Himalayas to stop Bison. The group gets separated by an avalanche, and Blanca meets up with Dalsim while in the mountains and blames him for his monstrous appearance. With Dalsim's help, Guile and Blanca manage to stop Bison while saving Ryu and Ken from within the process. That makes no sense. Somebody needs to rewrite that line on Wikipedia. Okay, so the Dark Heart. Justice League did it better. Justice League Unlimited did it better. Bison essentially is Lex Luthor in this.
Yep.
Like quite literally, he wants to basically destroy the world or destroy the U.S. and basically carve out one half for himself. The only thing that was missing that would have made this funny, he needed a character, he needed a sidekick.
Otisburg.
Yes, Otisburg.
Yeah, the whole time I'm like, wait a minute, this is Superman. It's also G.I. Joe the movie.
Mm-hmm. And now remind me, because like I said, I haven't played Street Fighter 2 in ages. Are Ken and Ryu both barefoot in the game?
Yes.
Okay. So I still can't let this go. Because in the game that's fine, because it's a game and you're using them as characters, but these guys are not the Lord Jesus Christ. They don't go everywhere walking barefoot. They shouldn't go everywhere. They're in the fucking, negative below zero whatever snow, and they get trapped in an avalanche, and they can't put fucking shoes on? Seriously?
Those have got to be some serious calluses on there.
You think, yeah. Because I just don't know. All right, what did you have any thoughts on Darkheart here?
I think I just exhausted it all, just basically comparing it to Superman and G.I. Joe. And I think that's gonna be a running theme here, is just me having G.I. Joe flashbacks throughout this entire series.
Well, at least they already tried to kill Guile in the movie now at this point.
I mean, G.I. Joe at least tried to drum out the really flashy colored characters. I mean, you had characters that sometimes were a little bright for their own good, but for the most part, they tried to keep everyone in camo or somewhat muted colors so that they don't stand out. Here you have, like I said, a girl in a swimsuit. These two guys in bright karate gis. I know they're not karate guys, but whatever.
Yeah.
You have the girl who's in blue and red stockings. You got the green guy. I mean, these guys stand out. How is it that nobody can shoot at these guys and hit them?
It's 80s logic turned over to the 90s, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like red laser, blue laser. I don't know. The whole time we've been talking about the first 7 episodes here, all I can think of is it's a really, really bad Avengers Assemble team. Because you already got Blanca in the Hulk. I mean...
I do have another thought on this, is that I just... having watched cartoons as long as I have, I am so sick of the enlightened character who's abandoned science and technology. And
Dulcimia.
he's like, I've moved on to a higher form of enlightenment. Shut up. Shut up. You use science to save the day. I don't want to hear it. And I also cringe whenever I hear the word chi power, which we're going to hear a lot as the series goes on.
Yes, yes, we are. Oh my God, it's just yeah. So this is what I'm saying though. Like the elements of the show are what makes the show horrible. It's not the voice acting; it's the elements and the shit that goes along with the show that makes the show horrible. So. All right, folks, that's going to do it for these first 7 episodes of Street Fighter. We will be back in a moment with final thoughts and all that good stuff after this.
Right here. I'm Zangief. I'm bad guy.
Hi, Zangief.
Hi, Zangief. I relate to you, Ralph. When I hit bottom, I was crushing man's skull like sparrow egg between my thighs. And I think, why do you have to be so bad, Zangief? Why can't you be more like good guy? Then I have moment of clarity. If Zangief is good guy, who'll crush man's skull like sparrow's egg between thighs? And I say, Zangief, you are bad guy. But this does not mean you're bad guy.
Right. I'm sorry. You lost me there.
Zombie, bad guy. Hi, Zombie. Zangief saying labels not make you happy. Good, bad. You must love you.
Yeah, inside here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I get you. Watch out. It's dripping.
Do you like retro cartoons? Then Saturday Morning Rewind is the podcast for you. Join them each month as they talk about classic cartoons and interview legendary voice actors like Jim Cummings.
I am the terror that flaps in the night.
Corey Burton.
Sometimes toys can be so flighty.
Rob Paulson.
Sure, Brain, but how are we going to find chaps our size?
Nancy Cartwright and many more.
Eat my shorts.
So grab a bowl of Lucky Charms.
They're magically delicious.
Put on your hammer pants. Go to SaturdayMorningRewind.com. And be prepared to feel like a kid again. Once again, that's SaturdayMorningRewind.com. Saturday Morning Rewind was voted Best Podcast Ever by its host, Tim Nidell. So it's gotta be good.
It's Showtime Synergy. The latest review podcast from the Geekcast Radio Network is here. So join TFG1 Mike, Nicole Hailstorm, and myself, Lady Rec, as we will be reviewing all 65 episodes of Joe and the Holograms in a 25-episode long podcast. You can find Showtime Synergy on iTunes and GeekCastRadio.com. We are the truly outrageous podcast that you want to be listening to.
It's action. It's drama. It's comedy. It's Decian, the superhero webcomic. Decian's got superhero antics and sexy girls. Read it now at Decian.com. DASIEN.com.
All right, folks, we are back. And I don't know what it is with our timing here at Pixels the Animation, but we managed to get the 2 Mortal Kombat episodes out in the same year that it's the show's 20th anniversary. And now, right in time, or just past the release, because this airs on a Thursday, this past Tuesday, Street Fighter V came out.
We meant to do that.
Yeah, sure we did.
That's the ticket.
Yeah. Street Fighter V includes Ryu, Chun-Li, Nash, M. Bison, Cammy, Birdie, Ken, Nekali, Vega, R. Micah, Rashad, Corinne, Zangief, Laura, Dalsim, Fang, Alex, Guile, Balrog, Uweek. You can't even... No, just not even going to do those last 3.
It's pretty much all the characters you love, plus some that you probably never heard of. But
right.
You'll get familiar with them soon.
Yep. One of the new characters is an intelligent, wild Aztec-like warrior from an unknown country, presumably Mexico. Who seeks a strong opponent's soul. What is this? What is this? Shang Tsung all over again?
Yeah.
But yeah, Street Fighter V is out now, folks. Go get it if you want to check it out. Anything else you want to bring up before we close out? Anything you want to say about Street Fighter V?
Well, I haven't played it, so I don't really have anything to say. Except it looks cool.
Anything you got coming up that you want to promote?
Well, I might have some new comics soon, but I don't know. I've been kind of busy with getting another project off the ground, which I mentioned in a previous episode anyway, so I don't need to repeat it. No, not a whole lot. There doesn't look like there's going to be anything going on with animation aficionados anytime soon, or really in the foreseeable future. Just, I think we just kind of ran the course with it, and I don't really have anything to add. I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be like the modern day reviewer of new cartoons, and not that interested in them. It's like I can only like sing the praises of Hanna-Barbera and Jay Ward for so long. So.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I found a way for me to go back and relive all the cartoons I covered in Tooncast Classic for Tooncast Beyond, because we did overall franchise discussions back then, whereas now we're going to do season by season stuff. And we're not going to do every season of every single cartoon, but somewhat of a new, different way. But yeah, no, it's only... When you're doing those big, giant, overall discussions on series and films and stuff, it can only last so long. All right. Thank you for joining us here on Pixels in the Animation. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Email us feedback at geekcastradio.com. Put in the subject line, Pixels in the Animation, episode, whatever number, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, whatever. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. Follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio is the main Twitter. Mine is TFGO and Mike. What is your Twitter?
P. Lynn Bailey. Letter P. Sorry.
The letter what?
The letter P. You don't spell out P.
Yeah, I kind of figured as much. I'll have
Well, you never know, people out there.
Yeah. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also check out Neil's Classic Gaming, and it's just Decian for the Decian Facebook page, right?
It's Decian Comic.
Decian Comic.
Because I think some existentialist group took the one I wanted. So.
Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for. End your name. 502-526-5821. There's a 5-minute time limit. We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of Pixels in the Animation and wish you'll join us next time when we'll be reviewing the final 6 episodes of Street Fighter Season 1, those being The Medium is in the Message, oh no, Eye of the Beholder, Hand That Feeds You, Keeping the Peace, Channel Vision, oh god, and Strange Bedfellows. For now, I am TFG and Mike with
TV's Mr. Neil.
Tune in next time and help us find the pixels in the animation. What the fuck was that?
I had tried to have like a sound bite, but I don't think it worked. Oh well.